So let's say you've done it, or you're close, or you're sitting there running the numbers in your head for the 100th time, asking yourself whether $2 million is actually enough to stop working, to actually stop, not just take a sabbatical, not just work part-time at a coffee shop because you like the atmosphere, but genuinely retire. Close the laptop for the last time, hand in the badge, stop setting a Monday morning alarm. And the weird thing is, most people who reach that number, or get close to it, don't feel the relief they expected to feel. They feel something closer to anxiety, like, is this actually enough? What if I live to 95? What if inflation eats everything? What if the market does something completely unhinged for the next decade, and I'm stuck watching my net worth shrink while I'm supposed to be kayaking? My name is Rick, and I spend probably too much time thinking about money, retirement math, and the strange gap between what people think financial security looks like versus what it actually feels like when you get there. And what I've found, after going down what I can only describe as a long, obsessive rabbit hole of research, real retirement stories, and honest numbers, is that $2 million in retirement is both more than enough and more complicated than it sounds, depending almost entirely on how you use it, when you use it, and what you actually expect your life to look like. That's the thing nobody really talks about. The number is almost secondary to the strategy. Two people with identical portfolios can have wildly different retirements, one comfortable and joyful, one quietly stressful, just based on how they draw the money down, how they've set things up, and whether they've actually thought through the shape of the life they're trying to fund. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to actually walk through what retirement with $2 million invested really looks like. Not in a brochure, not in a calculator, but in practice. Here's where most people start when they're trying to figure out if $2 million is enough. They open a retirement calculator, type in their number, pick an expected return of like 7%, and wait for the tool to tell them they're fine. And the calculator says they're fine. So they feel fine. For about a week. Then the doubts creep back in because, honestly, the calculator doesn't actually know anything about their life. It doesn't know they want to travel internationally every year. It doesn't know they have a beach house they're planning to buy. It doesn't know their spouse wants to help pay for their grandchildren's college. It doesn't know they've got a health condition that makes long-term care a real possibility. The calculator just does math, and retirement isn't just math. It's life, which is messy and expensive and completely unpredictable in the most inconvenient ways. So the first question most people get wrong is, do I have enough? Because that question, on its own, is almost meaningless. The right question is, enough for what, exactly? And that requires an uncomfortable level of specificity that most people genuinely avoid, partly because it forces you to confront your own mortality, and partly because it requires imagining a future self whose preferences you can't fully predict. Here's a way to think about it that might help. Imagine two couples. Both have $2 million saved. Both retire at 65. Couple A lives in a mid-sized city in the Midwest. They own their home outright. Their health is decent. They like road trips, cooking at home, visiting grandkids, and the occasional weekend away. Their monthly expenses run around $5,000. Couple B lives in a coastal city. They still have a mortgage. They love travel, real travel, business class travel, 2 international trips a year travel. They eat out often, they have hobbies that cost money, and they've been telling themselves for 30 years that retirement is when they'll finally live. Their monthly expenses are closer to $10,000, and they have a habit of quietly underestimating costs. Same portfolio, completely different stories. And when you run the numbers, using what's called the 4% rule, which is the long-standing guideline suggesting you can safely withdraw 4% of your portfolio per year without running out of money over a 30-year retirement. Couple A is drawing $5,000 a month, which is exactly 3% of their portfolio annually. They're in phenomenal shape. Their money will almost certainly outlive them. Couple B is drawing $10,000 a month, which is 6% annually. That's above the safe withdrawal threshold. Their money could run out in their early to mid-80s, which statistically is right when one of them is probably still alive and still needs it. Same number, different outcome. That's why the question isn't just how much. It's how much for this specific life?